Good morning, family. Today's scripture is Matthew chapter 5, verse 44. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. This scripture came to me because I couldn't sleep last night, so I grabbed my Bible. I was feeling restless, and out of my Bible fell this piece of paper that has Gwendolyn Johnson on it and the scripture Matthew 5:44. And the paper fell out. I put it on my bathroom sink, and when I got up this morning, I read my scripture messages and everything, did my studying, but that scripture kept jumping out to me, like, why is this piece of paper, who is Gwendolyn Johnson? So I looked her up. Andrea, I think she's a part of I think she goes to your church, and I think she's a part of the Godly Girls. So I'll friend her on Facebook. It said that she went to Pineville. But anyway, when I read this scripture, and I've read it before, and when I read it in the past, I always felt like, Jesus was teaching us, to love your enemies. Because when you show your enemies love, eventually they won't be your enemies anymore. Bless those who curse you, so that they'll stop cursing you. Do good to those who hate you. Because when you do good to people that hate you, maybe, their heart will turn and they won't hate you anymore. And then pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. Now this end part was difficult for me because last week I found out that I was being spitefully used. And I never wanted anyone to come into my life to use me or anything. And last week I said that I didn't want to be honest about the pain and stuff that I was feeling from this last breakup. So I prayed. I'm nervous. Not really nervous, but I got to get this testimony out. So I'm sorry if it's kind of long, but when I read this verse this morning, it said, pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. And it's the use you part. And I was very hurt to find out that I was used. Y'all know, family, that ex-boyfriend, ex-friend, old friend from college got me to move back to Louisiana, saying that he wanted to get married, saying that, he wanted us to be together. We were together in college, wanted to rekindle the old flame. I believed it, fell for it hook, line, and sinker, and moved to Atlanta on a promise that this was really love. And what I feel in my spirit today is that this was really closure. And to get the full closure, I need to pray for this man that I have now found out used me the way he used other women. And I thought about users. Like, what does it take to spitefully use somebody? I mean, you have to come up with a plan, a thought process, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, how you're going to deceive this person, how you're going to, win them over so you can get what you want. And what I kept feeling in my spirit, y'all, is that users don't have faith. They don't have faith that God is going to give them what they need so that they don't have to use anybody. And I admit I was hurt. I was hurt because this guy was a friend in college before we started dating. We dated for a while. He was a cheater in college, but I forgave him. I took him back because my spirit was so drawn to him. I felt like it was love, and I'm a forgiving person. So 21 years later, when he comes back into my life saying, you should have been the one, I should have married you, I want to marry you, and that's what my heart was seeking at the time, I thought it was God, and I thought God had answered my prayers, and answered my prayers with someone that I knew from my past, someone that, said they loved me. And then to find out that he turned from a cheater to a user. I didn't know that person. And I asked myself, how could you use someone that is giving you what you need, or giving you things? I mean, if I'm giving you something, how can you use me? I'm giving it freely of my heart. So I was disappointed that I'm just going to say his name, family. Y'all all know, and I'm going to post it on Facebook because I think everybody knows too, or they will know. But I really thought that Glenn was not a user. Mama said he was, but I had to use my own spirit of discernment and develop my own spirit of discernment to see and recognize when someone uses me. But to spitefully use a person is hurtful. And what was hurtful to me is that he did it to me, a friend, someone that was always there in his corner, someone that always cheered him on, someone that always encouraged him. And you decide to use me? Me, of all people. So, to wrap this up, hopefully, thinking about Matthew 5, verse 44. I would not have known or understand what the scripture meant had I not been spitefully used. And now I thank God for Glenn using me. I thank God for Glenn bringing me back to Louisiana. He was the reason I left Louisiana in the first place. I thank God that I can understand this scripture and pray for Glenn. And so if he ever sees this, I don't know, but I am praying for your faith, Glenn. I am praying for my enemy's faith, that you will grow, your mustard seed of faith will grow to a point where you don't have to use anybody. God is going to give you what you need, so you don't have to use anybody. And when I read this scripture, y'all, I was in tears because I was like, God, what do I pray? And so what came to me was, Felicia, when you stop being hurt and you stop being disappointed, when you stop beating up on yourself, then you can pray. So I'm thankful that my experience and my closure with Glenn is over, and I am in a prayerful place. And I just say to all of you family, continue to pray for your enemies. Continue to love your enemies. Continue to bless those that curse you. Continue to do good to those that hate you. And pray for those that spitefully use you and persecute you. And God will get the glory. I love y'all. Bye.